Hello, my name is Milton. Today is February 26th, and this is my informative speech. My topic is the cultural effects that Alexander the Great had on the rest of the world. Alright, growing up, I always enjoyed learning about Alexander the Great throughout my history classes. And according to McGraw-Hill Education, who is the author of Western Civilization to 1689, Alexander the Great was a great military leader. He was very brave, and he always led his men to victory en route to starting an empire by conquering the majority of the known world during his time period. Those are some of the reasons I liked Alexander so much, because of the way he was so brave with his men, and he was always able to lead them to victory and really couldn't be stopped. So to me, he was almost like a real life superhero. And although Alexander is commonly known for his great military achievements, he also has several cultural effects on the world as well. After Alexander would conquer a foreign land, he used a unique cultural effect called Hellenism. Alexander was the first person to use Hellenism. And according to McGraw-Hill Education, Hellenism can be defined as the Greek culture trying to blend with other cultures. The reason Alexander was so smart for using Hellenism is because he realized that he would be able to better keep peace throughout the foreign lands that he conquered, because even though Greek would now be their primary culture, he would also be able to keep in some of their original cultural elements. In the YouTube video, History of Colonial America, it says that many European nations, such as Great Britain, France, Spain, and Portugal, also tried to blend their cultures with the native cultures of the Americas during the colonization. This shows how Alexander was able to impact the colonization of our homelands of the Americas, as the strategy that the Europeans used in colonialization is almost the exact same thing as Alexander's version of Hellenism. The spread of Greek entertainment and architecture throughout Alexander's empire also had a tremendous effect on the culture of the world. The modern Olympics and modern architecture of the world are greatly affected by the Greek models during Alexander's time period. According to Olympics.org, when the original Olympics were done in Greece, they had events such as boxing, wrestling, and jumping. Now, although in the modern Olympics they have implemented new games such as soccer and basketball, they still contain some of the original Greek events such as wrestling, boxing, and jumping. According to Mark Cartwright, who is the author of Greek architecture on the website Ancient History Encyclopedia, the Greeks were very famous for their magnificent architecture. Some examples of the Greeks' architecture is the Greek columns, which supported their buildings, and the temples, which they used for religious worship. Some examples of Greek architecture in the modern United States is that the Greek columns can be commonly seen throughout the United States. For example, they're common in government buildings, houses, and churches. And the Greek temples are also common throughout the United States. And for example, there's one even close to us in Greenville. So you can see that Alexander's impact of spreading the Greek entertainment and architecture made its way to affect the United States as well. The cultural effects of the world that Alexander caused is more than we could ever imagine. Today I've talked about two cultural effects that Alexander had on the world. One was the way that he used Hellenism, to bring about government in the foreign nations that he conquered, and 2 is the way that he was able to use the Greek entertainment and architecture throughout his entire empire, which would one day affect our world. According to McGraw-Hill Education, Alexander was only 20 years old when he became king of Macedonia. And now that I'm 20 years old, I can look at my life and see that I'm still trying to figure out how to be an adult and function in the real world. So now I really admire Alexander even more than when I was a kid, because I realized how mature he truly had to be able to manage his kingdom and turn it into an empire through his military brilliance, as well as be able to shape the culture of the world as we know it. Thank you.